Yo, 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 what is good, guys? Welcome back to Dark Souls 1, over a year later from my original videos. In this video, I'm going to be kind of going through my Dark Souls 1 experience, my whole journey in little segmented clips of killing this boss, killing that boss, kind of how it went for me in that area and my thoughts on the game and my build at that point. And at the end, you'll get to see my Gwyn fight and expect more Souls content in the future. Here we go. You guys all obviously know why I'm here. This dragon gave me so much of a pain in the start of my playthrough, and I spent way too long trying to fight him normally on the bridge. I just defaulted to shooting his tail first, and even that was something interesting. This was just like me scrolling on TikTok, learning his patterns. You can actually shoot him twice, once when it's close up, as you can see there, and one when it was far away. But I got the Drake Sword, although I heard it was a crutch weapon, so I never used it. Several attempts later of trying to kill the dragon on the bridge, I came up with this bow setup and learned his patterns on his little hilltop to just, kill him the unhonorable way. But I swear I tried really hard not to cheese him, but I hated this dragon so much, and I made sure I didn't progress until I killed him. And finally, he died! And I was so happy, you have no idea. Genuinely very excited. The Capra Demon was up next, and my fight wasn't anything too special. Having fought him before, I kind of had a game plan. Kill the dogs, run up the stairs, and the Claymore is such a good poke weapon. If I can just outrange him a little bit, get the poke, fall off the stairs when I felt I was being pressured, or back down. Not that bad of a fight, and that's what got me my first victory. Like I said, second time fighting him, so definitely had more of a plan going into it. We poke him, and he dies on the next boss. Everyone's favorite boss, if it was your favorite boss, because you could smack him over the head with a hammer. I hated this boss my first playthrough, although they're really easy. Just getting to this boss is what really killed it for me. The catacombs, such a bad area. I hated it so much. I was more prepared going into it this time with the shield poke build and long range of the Claymore, but man, did it suck my first time going through. Go back and watch the video if you want to see me suffer for like an hour straight. I hated it. This time though, made short work of it. My early build here kind of being cemented with the Mask of the Child, the Knight Armor, and the Claymore. Got invaded on my way down to Quelaag in the swamp area by Mr. Thorny Man. And sadly, I didn't get all three of his invasions to get his armor, but I did manage to randomly find him while going down. I got his sword in the end, but yeah, he went down easy. NPCs can't stand the poke build, superior. Around this point, every time I had the chance to summon Solaire for most fights, I would, because I was under the impression that if I summoned him, it would be the same as me being summoned to aid another, to like lower the faith requirement of joining his covenant, which turned out to not be the case. And hindsight, I probably would have went back and not summoned him, just to like have the honor of killing him alone. But Sunbro, Solaire, love the guy. Gaping Dragon wasn't that hard of a fight on my first playthrough anyways, so got his tail and we're out of there. Before we fight Quelaag, a quick hop and step over to our favorite garden pest, Mr. Butterfly here, who I will admit, I tried to do only melee in the beginning and may have died once, perhaps, but yeah, don't let that stain my honor. I was doing enough two-handed damage here that when it went down, I was able to almost just cream him entirely while he was laying down. Easy fight, got the ashes, and yeah, now we're headed back to the swamp. While trying to get a bonfire, I was attacked by a naked man wearing a sack, but once again, the shield poke with the Claymore is just unmatched, especially by NPC invaders. I just keep my distance, punish attacks, Claymore poke, easy clap. Invaders really stand no chance. I even had player invaders who died to me. Get the backstab for a nice finish. The moment all the gooners have been waiting for, we're on to the naked Booba spider lady, who did not cause too much of a problem for me. It would have been nice if I actually brought flasks into the fight, but poison swamp, so I just used humanity to do all my regen here. I didn't use 5 humanity though, but I did use a few. Her sword, very cool. I heard it looks a lot nicer now than what it used to, but yeah. Quelaag down, time to ring the second bell. After Quelaag, and still terribly underleveled, I decided to try and fight this Discharge Man, who was very tough for me. I'm not gonna lie, this is probably the hardest boss up until this point. I didn't really get his gimmick and realize like there's apparently one arm that does way more damage to him or something, I would just bait out his slam every time and just try and attack his arm. It gave me so much trouble. Honestly, I really hated this fight, but we got to do it. Got it done. Discharged down, and now the lava's gonna drain. This Hydra, who I avoided almost religiously my first playthrough, was really honestly not all that. I died to it twice, I think, from just running off the edge, but in general their attacks weren't crazy. They were very uncoordinated for having 8 heads. And as you can see, I just waited for them to face plant to the ground, ran up, and smashed them. New armor though, new drip. I rocked this for most of the game. I liked it a lot, and it was a nice farm. I like this set a lot. I use it too much, honestly. I should have swapped more, but it was nice. I swear, From Software in Souls games always tries to give me that one fight that I absolutely hate myself for completing, and this was that one. Although I'm missing like a lot of hits here on Seath, but I died to him once, I think. I just wasn't prepared, but yeah, sadly I had to kill the good boy. I even like made sure there wasn't a way to skip it, but RIP to the good boy. Respect. Good fight though, good fight. I found Sin's Fortress to be very annoying, not only just from the sheer amount of like Titanite demons and people I had to go around and try and progress. I mean, it was nice, but the balls were annoying. Some of the traps and the swinging axes are very annoying. I managed to get through it, and I got hit there on the Iron Golem, but I didn't use his gimmick either, which I wasn't aware of because I tried to avoid spoilers. I liked his axe, though. Sadly, it breaks really fast like every other boss weapon, but we move. On to Anor Londo. I really enjoyed this cutscene, especially the second part of it. It brings stuff into scale, and at this point I'm pretty sure I'd done everything up until this point to go to Anor Londo, because without placing the Lord Vessel or whatever, half the game is blocked off. So it was time for me to come here regardless. Very beautiful though. I played Dark Souls 3 before this, but even this was a sight to behold. Very pretty. Time for the duo fight. Originally I decided to bring Solaire with me, but once I realized my damage was kind of crazy with the full stone set, I made sure to run it back and run the ones, although Solaire and me did kind of like super clap them. And I wish I would have saved not Smough for last, but you know, it worked out either way. I will, on my New Game Plus playthrough, make sure to kill Ornstein last, because I prefer Ornstein's armor. Smough's armor is so fucking disgusting. But yeah, I mean, I'm doing a lot of damage here, and I can pretty much block, like you see there, most hits. If I would have had more stamina, I would, like the stone set is just crazy. It's really good. This should be the end of Smough here. Also, doesn't he like eat people? So yeah, weird guy. I placed the Lord Vessel next, which still wearing the God Ugly armor. I know. Eventually I will change, but I have the full stone set, and it was honestly so good, especially the 100 poise. I wish I hadn't placed the Lord Vessel so soon, because it locked me out of the Dark Wraith Covenant, which I'm gonna have to do on New Game Plus. But yeah, I wish I could have got their armor because it's so fucking cool looking. I got it on DS3 and I absolutely loved it, although I think the DS1 looks better. After placing the Lord Vessel, I went down to this area, which I fucking hated. I had to farm the ghosts in this area for like a 1% knife drop from like 2 random ghosts. The ones that call in reinforcements or that are holding the baby with the red eyes. Oh, not only was that farm bad, but also farming for a Titanite slab from the Dark Wraiths, that also sucked and took like many hours, like 4 or 5. But after draining the place, eventually I went on to fight my first of the 4 lords or whatever, the 4 kings, which is a very hard boss fight. Definitely, I think top 3 hardest fights in DS1 for sure. They had just so much health, and I literally was like down, like no flasks left or anything, and yeah, they were clapping me. I will admit that I had a very hard time fighting them. Cool design though, and I heard they have some weird gimmicks with the bleed scythe, but no, it took me a while to figure out how they were there too. Next I went to Snuggly the Crow and the Stray Demon, which thank goodness for Snuggly, or whatever the crow's name, that you could trade with, because I would have had to do New Game Plus cycle just to get some items that Snuggly will let you trade for. I think there was a ring from the Cat Covenant, which I'll talk about later, and a few pieces of like what Demon Titanite and stuff like that that Snuggly also gives you, which was such a big find when I eventually found it towards the end of my playthrough on like a random wiki page. The Stray Demon wasn't anything too crazy, although I put on the ring to try and get his weapon drop, so I'm overloaded here because I was barely able to wear the full stone set, which is like 200 pounds. So I was kind of taking more hits than I should have, but like I said, I put on the silver snake ring because I really wanted this weapon drop from him. And I almost paid the piper for it, and would have had to go back to the bird nest, but thankfully I got him down just in the nick of time. It was around this point that I realized I wasn't in any covenant, and I knew the next area I was progressing to was after Ceaseless Discharge, where I came to that yellow wall that required the Lord Vessel. So I went here to Chaos Chick, joined her covenant, which I knew based off my covenant page that I had information on that I needed to do it for a shortcut. And it turns out it was a good thing I went through this shortcut and was able to save Solaire from dying in there. But yeah, we got the shortcut, went and fought the Demon Sage, who was, you know, pretty much just like the other two. If you can beat one, you can beat all of them. And the stone armor, like I said, it absolutely carries. Like, see there, I tanked an entire blast and took like 10 damage. Although I did have to spend a long time farming for it, and I tried really hard to make the Ash of War work. But yeah, it's a good set. I eventually get rid of it though and use something else. But covenant farming again after I did all my humanity stuff. I got locked in the coffin here and went down to see Nito before he was released and did all that covenant stuff to get his blade 2 incantations. Or 2 sorceries, I can't remember which one they were, but they weren't that good. Unless you were standing right in front of the boss and just praying, they weren't anything crazy. However, I did talk to him and then farmed some basilisks down in the sewers to get enough eyes, because you know the community for invading and stuff is pretty much not too crazy, especially with the few covenants which have very weird requirements. But nonetheless, I entered his covenant, ranked it up to full, trying to get every item in the game, as I did with all the other covenants. The sword he gives, the Gravelord sword, is nice. Did the cat covenant here as well. It was a weird covenant though, because the only way you can progress it is by getting kills, is by invading people while in the forest. And this was also my farm spot for souls, so this is where I would kill all the human NPC ghosts for money. Thankfully, like I said, the crow, Snuggly the crow or whatever, just let me completely bypass all that. Finally made my way through the Duke's archives to fight Seath after dying to her the first time, or him. This fight, while it was in a cool area and everything, and I didn't expect Seath to show up here, I thought maybe I would have to fight them again in the archives. This fight was incredibly underwhelming. I expected it to be a lot harder, but it really wasn't. I also didn't get the tail from this fight, although I did chop it a few times, but no, I did not get the tail. I will unfortunately have to go back. I missed a lot of tails. I got most in the beginning of the game, but towards the end I really just did not get any. Apparently even Manus has a tail. Like a lot of the DLC tails, I don't think I got a single DLC tail, so. But yeah, it was an easy fight against Seath here. I really expected it to be harder, but second Lord Soul acquired. I better see no comments about my progression, okay? Listen, the first time you played Elden Ring, I'm sure you were also all over the place, okay? And so yeah, I went through Secret Passage, went back to Seath, came back. I have new armor now, which you'll be seeing through most of the rest of the playthrough. I can't say I expected the Centipede Demon here, so I was pretty surprised after just fighting the Stray Demon or whatever, the fire one. I did not expect there to be the Centipede Demon this close. However, I've seen talk of it on some wiki or whatever, so I knew it was going to come eventually. So I just, you know, the Giant's armor is pretty good. I traded the Stone armor for, I think, the best other armor, besides the Poise. I think the Poise is a little less. And I didn't have the Lava Ring yet, so that damage was cooking me. And I fought him just right straight up at the fog wall perhaps a little too leveled. I think I was around 90 at this point or something. I'm not sure. After the Centipede Demon was, of course, you guessed it, the Bed of Chaos, which gave me a lot more trouble than it should have. I just could not figure out how to run to its core without getting swept off the map after destroying both of its little bulbs. And I'm telling you, I died like 3 times probably just trying to be able to run and jump down the hole to get to his heart. But eventually, finally, I was able to kill it and move on. I wasn't even trying to go to the DLC. I was trying to get this armor set here, but I didn't know the first time Manus pulls you in. Spoiler alert, that's who this is, I'm pretty sure. And I was yoinked in. A cool little cutscene though, definitely unexpected, so I was pretty surprised the first time it happened. I fought the Sanctuary Garden twice, I think, and of course even though I was doing lightning damage, he rocked my shit, I'm not gonna lie. And I didn't get his tail either, sadly. He was very mobile though, in my build, and I guess I should have put on the ring that helps with mobility when you're walking in sludge, but no, I was doing good damage. It just took me more than once just to prepare myself, you know. Once again, having horrible progression, I go back to the Grand Archives after buying everything from Hatboy here, and decided to fight him honorably naked after the first few hits, because my build is kind of crazy, so here we go, we're both wearing a hat with our weapons. I wish I looked more into the magic in this game, but I used more magic in this run than I did in my Dark Souls 3 run, so used it a little bit. Back down to see probably my favorite looking boss of DS1, Gravelord Nito. Done with this covenant now at this point. I made sure to finish it first, and I think this was my last Lord Soul that I needed after the Bed of Chaos. And like I said, the only reason I really put him last was because I needed to get his covenant done, because I already had his Side of Grace. But he wasn't that hard. I think the hardest part about his boss fight was definitely his minions, the little skeletons that are with him. If it weren't for them, I wouldn't have probably struggled at all. He had one backslash attack where he would hit behind him, but other than that, I was kind of just in his blind spot the whole time. That black backslash right there. The skeletons, the big ones, are kind of what made this fight even somewhat difficult, but we got him on my first try. Not that bad. Cool looking boss though, and I like his sword a lot. If it proc poison more, that would have been great. Next up is Mr. Aura Farmer himself, Artorias. The one and only coolest looking boss, next to Nito in my opinion. Very sick boss, cool boss. I like the lore involved. Him turning to the dark side of the abyss and all that. Very cool. I like how he's woven into the story in the DLC. I tried to give him a respectable fight too, so I changed my armor up a little bit here, as you can see, and use a new weapon, the Gravelord weapon. Although I never proc poison on Artorias or anyone else I used it on for that matter. It did good shit. It did do good damage though, for sure. That little throw attack Artorias does was mainly what got me. That and his Lion's Claw. But other than those two attacks, I kind of could understand most of his moves and took him out. RIP to the GOAT. But it was a good fight. I enjoyed it a lot at least. And this fight, however, was very hard for me. I think this is the hardest boss in my opinion in DS1. I struggled with Manus a lot. It's a cool area and a cool concept for a boss, being like the father of evil and all that, but I think I died to him probably like, I want to say 4 or 5 times. And my build is pretty good. I'm pretty tanky as well, with like a lot of flasks and everything, but he cooked my ass. I didn't realize Sif was a summon for this fight until my last run here, and I was like, well, I gotta let Sif, or help Sif get his get back. So I summoned him for the fight, although he kind of hung back most of the time. I think he took aggro like 1 time. So I mean, you know, I definitely could have done it without him, but you know, I'm happy to help him avenge Artorias. Manus was definitely hard though. I wish I got his tail in the end. Unfortunately, I did not. I hit his tail a lot too. I just did not get the weapon. Go here, helping me shoot down the evil black dragon Kalameet, who kept burning my ass when I would go to the valley. I know a little bit about Go's lore, but he's cool. Sad I had to kill him for his armor later on when I was going to New Game Plus. Screw Kalameet though. Cool looking dragon though. Cool looking dragon. I liked Go though. He was sick. His armor looks weird. Paying respects to our boy Artorias here, making sure that lady did not steal his soul. And then I put on some drip to fight Kalameet. Swapped up the build a little bit. I like this set from Chester so much, and I almost died instantly, or did that attack actually, but I managed to kill Kalameet. I don't know how that breath attack didn't hit, but I killed him around 1 HP, and I was finally done with him. Didn't get his tail though, sadly, but story of my life, most DLC bosses, I did not get their tail. Actually, I don't think I got any of them, so. Now time for the painted world, and although it was really cool and I liked the area and the whole aspect of the painted world, it was not very large at all, which kind of sucked, but I heard a lot about the painted world and like people who've played Dark Souls, like painted world, painted world, painted world. I heard a lot about it, but I mean, it was alright. It was a good place for farming souls, I guess. I didn't really use it for that, but I made sure to get everything I could out of it. I mean, it was pretty much towards the end game for me. However, I did not get her tail or a clip of me killing her, sadly, but I finished it quick, and I also missed the invader there, which also sucked, but yeah, I finished out the painted world with the giant's armor, and I missed the tail but got the scythe later on, and jumped back into the abyss for the latter half of the game here. Vine sound effect there. Very cool area though. The snowy part was really sick. Finally deciding to add all the souls and open up the access to Gwen. Darn near at the end of the game here, I know, but I wanted to make sure I could do everything I could. And there's still a few, we're not done exactly yet. I'm pretty sure I still have some Covenant stuff to do, but this was very cool. The cool little area underneath the Firelink Shrine. Talking to the brother now. For his Covenant and his sword. I was very sure not to access the fog wall because I was told very specifically never to cross the carpet. So I then joined the Dark Moons and to get the Covenant ring, and I think there was something else I couldn't remember, but to join them, got the ring, and then I went to the Dragon Man here, who I completely missed the Great Hollow in my first playthrough, or like in the beginning of my playthrough. I completely missed it. So I made sure to get the stamina ring at the very end of the game and go and talk to this dragon here, as well as chopping off his tail. And the dragon items in DS1 seem actually okay. Like the dragon head and its breath damage isn't bad against like basic mobs. And the fact that there's no like limit to it besides stamina means you could technically use it a lot more than you would think. Also talked to the fake Big Booba lady here. Joined her Covenant. And did not kill her throughout the entire game, because I'm pretty sure you don't get anything even if you do. So shortly after talking to her and joining her Covenant, I also killed the Brass Firekeeper, who, well, that was after killing her brother, I guess. Speaking of killing her brother, I saved him for last because I thought it would be a lot harder, but because he was hyped up, and he was not. He was not that great. He was not that strong anyways, I should say. He was mainly like a gimmick boss, what it felt like. Gwendolyn was not that crazy. Because I saved him right before Gwen. I killed him, did everything else that was left in the world, like farming wise, which was Titanite slabs. And yeah, don't even get me started on the red Titanite slab. He looked cool, but I mean his boss fight was just very easy. It was like wait for the burst damage and then just run up and kill him. Like after I did his Covenant stuff. A lot of people use his mask though, I've noticed. Like it was very popular. But no, this armor set looks so cool. The Chester set is so sick. With the scythe too. He just looks awesome. I made sure I tried to finish the DLC with it. This farm right here for the red Titanite, oh, it took me like 6 or 7 hours. Like max item discovery and at some points it just got brain numbing. This was like, I want to say the night before New Year's, or like the afternoon before New Year's, I'm not sure, but like I was so cooked. I think this was December 31st, the night of it, and dude, it took me, kid you not, I farmed these guys for so many hours, and there's only 4 respawnable ones. You have to put on the lava ring, run across the lava, go up to him, put the ring on, blah blah blah. Drop down in the poison too, not to mention that. Run through all the stone dragons. Like farming for this red Titanite slab to get my plus 10 or plus 15 chaos weapon, one of the two. I don't remember if it was plus 10 or plus 15. It took so long. But finally I got it and like almost just died of excitement and happiness. And now for my favorite part of every FromSoft game. After finally being ready to beat the game and doing every quest line, I get to kill my favorite little bald man. The little son of a bitch. Die, Patches. This is for pushing me down the hole. I hate you. I hate you. Die. Oh, I love that. I love doing that. Fuck Patches. And like every good story, it must come to an end. And so, folks, if you've played Dark Souls before, then you know where we're running to and you know where we're going. I will preface this fight by saying I tried many builds. I could have used my original like full giant set, but it felt too cheap of a way to kill him. So I wanted to get a run where I got a lot of good dodges in with a not a super meta weapon, just to like try and have some fun with it. Then again, Gwen did still chip me a few times, but this was like 5 or 6 in the morning. I was like ready, well done with the game at this point. It was like very late. I had also like, I think this was the night before my birthday or something. So like, yeah, it was a fight. Well, like as you've seen, I'm getting hit a lot still, but I just know I tried very hard to make it a clean fight, but it just doesn't always work out like that. But this was the cleaner of fights. Like I tried to get a lot of dodge rolls in. Of course, I'm doing a lot of damage, but like I even goof off a little bit towards the end. But all in all, Dark Souls was a great game. I think Manus was definitely the hardest. I would put the 4 Kings second, and I would put Gwyn third probably. As for how difficult I felt the bosses were. Although, I feel like had I not used a shield build, I could have probably had a harder time with some characters. Artorias was probably 4th maybe? I'm not sure. Like I said, I feel like people I used the shield on could have been a lot harder. Good music though, and a good fight. Enough trolling. That was my Dark Souls. I did the linking the flame ending because I was scared that wouldn't count also, by the way. But no, I didn't get to do the evil ending, which I'll probably do next time because I put the Lord Vessel down too early. But it spawned us back right here. And yeah, that was my Dark Souls story. That was my Dark Souls experience. Love Chester's set. Love the game. I prefer it to Dark Souls 3, and I had a great time. It was a great time. I linked the fire. The cycle continues. Nothing's changed. Undead souls will still go to the asylum or whatever. But man, was this armor set sick, and I had a lot of fun playing the game. There's still a few items I have to go back and farm, so I'm not quite done with Dark Souls 1 yet, but it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. I was super cooked when I finally beat Gwyn, but it was fun. I wish the ending was a little better, but you know, it was fun. And so the cycle continues, and I've prolonged the inevitable.
This is your fate.